Hello everybody, this is Lainey from Camp Joy Farms. I went to my friend Mella's to film the little video Monday, and it rained Monday afternoon, so that all worked out good because I couldn't have got much done outside at my house. But Tuesday, and today is Wednesday, I think it's April 27th, I believe, I am working. And I'm trying to get as much done as I can, just a lot of little things. Yesterday, I didn't film anything, but what I did yesterday was, excuse me while I go down this hill, try not to do it without falling. Yesterday, what I did was, I've just noticed my melons, my watermelons and my cantaloupe, they came up quick. They started setting their little third leaf, but then they just started staying small. They weren't thriving, they weren't vining out or anything, and it started worrying me. And then the other day, they kind of started turning more lime color rather than green. So that started worrying me because I knew they weren't getting what all they needed out of the soil to thrive. So I'm no microbiologist, but I decided to look into it a little bit. And I think what they needed is some more nitrogen in the soil, some more, a little bit more nutrients to kind of get a little leg up. So yesterday, that's what I did. I went around to Richard's garden where I have the Wilson sweet watermelons growing, well, planted. They came up, but and I just sprinkled some powdered nitrate. I think the ratio is 12:0:0, so it's all nitrogen, but it's not a huge dose of nitrogen. But I sprinkled that around all of those Wilson sweet watermelon plants, and I sprinkled it around the Ford Hook Gem cantaloupes. But you need to water it in. I didn't get it right up on the base of the plants, so I wasn't worried about it too much. And we had a chance of rain yesterday evening, so I thought, well, you know, that might take care of that, but it never rained. So my goal today was just simply to water. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm just moving my sprinkler system because I need it top watered so that it'll hit that topsoil and the little bit of soil I'll put over the nitrogen and work it down into the roots. So I'm just moving my water hose. But what do you do in between times while your water hose is doing the work? And what I've been doing is this. I'll show you. Looks like something had got into my garden, doesn't it? But it was really me. What I've been doing is walking around and pulling up all of that dwarf SX rape that I planted as a ground cover last year. Now, what I was doing, you can see it all down my aisles if you look. What I was doing was letting that grow, and it's done its job. These have a taproot on them, kind of, and I've let the taproot kind of go down. That helps break up my soil because I have this clay soil. You can see everywhere where I've been pulling them up today, all down at the other end too. And I've been letting it break up my soil, plus they leaf out, and so I've been letting them kind of be a weed protector around the edges of my garden and down some of the parts of the garden. But the dwarf SX rape, or any rape plant, is in the brassica family. So the brassicas are heavy feeders, which means they need lots of water. And I started realizing they were taking the water from my corn, from my cucumbers. They were taking the water from my beans and things like that. And it just hit me the other day. I was like, oh, I've let them get too big. Now they're taking all the nutrients from the plants I'm growing for food. So they got to go. They got to get out of here. It reminded me of a story. I had a cute little aunt. She was a Spitfire. She lived to be about 95, here from Louisiana. And one time she was telling me about the preachers at their church. And she said, oh, we love that preacher. He was wonderful, but we had to get rid of him. And I said, well, what did he do? And she said, oh, nothing. He was great. She said, he was great. She just said, we had to get rid of him. She said, if they stay too long, they start thinking they own the place. And she said, this is our church. So she said, after a while, we get rid of them. We tell them to go. They got to go somewhere else. So I thought about that today with my dwarf SX rape. I'm like, thank you. Your tap roots have helped break up my soil. You've put nutrients into my soil. I'm going to throw you on the ground and let you rot in the ground, kind of that Jadam method, to add more fuel to my soil. But you got to go. I appreciate everything, but you got to go. You got to find somewhere else to go because this is my garden, and you're not going to take anything away from my plants that are growing there. This is my garden. The dwarf SX rape is out of here today. Another thing I did was some of my cucumbers were doing kind of like my melons. Some were coming up and starting to look like they were thriving, and some were staying small. You can see some of them down there. I kind of planted some Ashley cucumbers in between some of my tomato plants where I had gaps. I just don't like the soil to just sit there and do nothing. I mean, if there's 6-8 feet right there, because I ended up with not enough starts on my tomato plants, it's like, okay, let's put something there. So I put those there, but believe me, they're all over my garden like that. It's not just here. And so yesterday I put some nitrogen all around all of my cucumbers, everywhere, all over my garden. That's another thing I'm watering today. I watered all down the back row today. That's where my watermelons are planted. And then I'm watering all on the front row today, where it's what I call my tomato alley, because I've got all my tomatoes here. But I've also got a lot of cucumbers. And you can see on the little second row there, there's beans. That's my Cherokee wax beans. But that ends at this post, and then the whole 50 feet of that row going all the way down, got my fence in the way, going all the way down, it is cucumbers. It's hard to tell until I zoom in on them, but like there's one there, and they're like that, staggered all the way down my row. They're staggered all the way down my row. You can see them when I zoom in. But they needed just a little help. So I'm taking this sprinkler here today, and I just set it at the far end, farthest away from me. And that way I can grab the other end and just pull it about every 15 minutes or so. I pull it about 10 or 15 feet and just water all the way down my row to get that done. But, you know, it takes a while because you're only pulling it a little at a time, and I've got a 100-foot row. So I'm just trying to stay on it today, praying I don't forget about it and go inside for an hour and forget all about it, but trying to stay on it and just trying to stay busy while I'm out here with these hoses. I did a video last fall of mulching and weeding all around my blackberry bushes. And yeah, look at this. I need to reshoot another video of me doing it in the spring, but I don't know if it's gonna happen today. I walked out here this morning and look at this. Bunch of my squash are blooming just out of nowhere, so I guess they're happy. I've tried to kind of baby them a little bit lately because they were looking kind of yellow and not doing good, but they seem to be coming back, seem to be okay, so just cross my fingers and leave them alone right now. Now they haven't gotten near as big as they're going to get, but you know, as long as they look happy, seem happy, they're keeping their green color pretty much, we're just gonna rock and roll with it. These Ideal Market beans kind of hit a slump, and they started turning lime green too. So obviously I've got to work on something with my soil. But what I did was the other day, I have some ammonium sulfate, which is something you can put on the soil around the base of your plants, not on their foliage, but on the soil. And you work it in a little bit, and then you have to water it really good right then, or it'll really burn your plants. Well, I did that, and it's kind of turned back green again. So I feel like I kind of conquered it. And since that happened, if I come in closer, you'll see that all of a sudden they're setting off little runners. And they weren't doing that the other day. Now the ones on the back row were doing okay, but it was these on the front row that started turning lime green. Don't know why. They're just inches away from the other row. I'm really not sure why that happens. Planted 2 rows of them at the exact same time. The ones on this side looked fine. The ones on this side looked lime green. So, but I think I put a little fix on them, got a little handle on it, and I'm just gonna let them rip now and see if they put these runners out and start growing me some green beans. So, and some of them are blooming on the back row, of course, not the ones on the front row, but some of them are blooming now. And so hopefully they'll start really climbing this fence here shortly and do okay. I was fully prepared to not get any bell peppers or anything until later on, because they take a while sometimes. But all of a sudden I have bell peppers on here, and I think these are the bullnose bells. Oh, I'm so organized. And then I just messed up and planted some of these bell peppers in my upper garden, here, there, and yonder, and I can't remember what I planted. But I know it's not a Jimmy Nardello, and I don't know if it's a sheep-nosed pimento. I'm just gonna have to wait and see how they bear out. It's not just those bell peppers that are coming on my plants. I've got what I think is Jimmy Nardello coming on there. In Richard's garden on the other side of the beach, I have several Cubanelle peppers, and one of them's about 6 inches long. I think you can kind of harvest them, and they're ready to really be at their best when they're about 8 or 9 inches long. And then I've got some jalapenos coming on my plants down there. It has gotten hot here in South Louisiana, and I guess the peppers are just telling me they're ready. I was just kind of prepared to not have any peppers until maybe June, and now all of a sudden I'm thinking, wow, here they come. So, and they seem to be happy. I told you I planted them 2 in a hole, like the Amaranth Gardener had recommended on her channel, and they seem to be happy. They're growing pretty good. All I'm doing really to them, I put a little calcium nitrate in a little hole beside each one of them so that it can kind of slowly seep into their root system. I do that to protect against the blossom end rot, because apparently I guess I do have a deficiency of calcium in my soil, and my tomatoes and bell peppers will get blossom end rot if I don't do some kind of intervention, and that seems to work the best. Right now they look very happy and healthy, so I'm gonna just keep going with what I'm doing. This is my second succession of squash. So these plants are kind of small. They're just kind of coming up and getting going. Down there is, at the other end down there, is where I have the ones I just showed you that are blooming. But these, the dirt was just drying up so much. They just looked like they were growing in rocks. And so yesterday I got some of my black organic soil from my pile across the beach, and I brought it over here, and because of the fence and just things I had in the yard and the way I had to park, I had to literally carry this over here one shovel at a time and put on these things. But I was just kind of hoping to give a little bit more cover to that soil and maybe help it retain some water a little bit when it rains. So I'm trying to do what I can. I did the same thing on some of my corn plants over here. This is that John Hawk corn. And my dirt on this end of the garden washes away. I had rows, and now I have flat. I have just flats. So I'm trying to just bring in a little bit of organic soil. I'm gonna bring in that wheel hoe that you saw me doing corn with the other day, and I'm gonna get in here and really try to break up some soil that I can also pile up against these, because some of them, like that one, is getting pretty big, and that one over there. And I'm gonna need to be hilling them up here in a little bit, but I don't really have any rows to rake up, so I'm gonna have to kind of make my own rows by digging some trenches in between these rows. This is the bottom side of my garden. My garden goes all the way uphill there, and it comes downhill, and then boom, all my dirt washes out into my yard over there. You can see where all the dirt's going from my garden. You're probably saying, well, build you a little moat around there. Well, I didn't think about it in time, and it's gone. It's already down the hill. So you live and learn. These are some of my cucumber plants that I didn't have planted near the dwarf Essex rape. So they are thriving. They're doing pretty good, especially this one right here. It's doing really good. So not as worried about, now these I planted later. These last few I planted later. So because they were like a mist spot, so I came back and added seeds later. But these I planted earlier, and this is the Dragon's Egg from Baker Creek, and I do highly recommend this one. It just grows so good, and they're little small yellow cucumbers, but they're delicious, and they are prolific. Wanted to show you, these are some early girl tomatoes, and they're getting, you know, some size to them. I'm so happy. Most of my other ones still look like little cherry tomatoes coming on, but these are starting to get some size to them. It's great. Over here in this little side garden I have on the side of my house, my pole beans are coming along. These first little grouping of them are the Mary's Meat pole beans that I got from Sand Hill Preservation Center in Calamus, Iowa. And I'm really wanting these to make it because I want to save seeds from them. I think I told you last year they didn't do that great, and I only ended up with about, I don't remember, 6 seeds or something saved. And so this year I'm really hoping I can have some come on here, because I don't necessarily want to harvest them to eat. I really want to save more seeds so that I'll have them for later. They're a really big bean when they grow. I have a sunflower growing there, and then down there are the pole beans, which are a little bit slower going, but they're going. It's the 1,500-year-old cave bean that I got from Baker Creek. And again, I used some seeds I saved from last year. They didn't do that great last year, but I had them out in the full sun last year, and I can tell you right now, they seem to be a lot more happy in this Louisiana heat over here against my house. They do get morning sun, but it's about 1 o'clock right now, and you can see the sun is already off of them. They're on the east side of my house. So once it gets after lunch, that's it for them. I've got a bunch of more sunflowers coming up. I got these seeds from my little great niece's birthday party, and I planted them, and they're doing great. And then over here, ooh, this sun's bright. And around in here, I have some bush beans planted. Let me get in the shade where you can see a little better. They're just starting to come on here now. I'm getting a few of the red swan beans. I'm just growing these really for myself. I picked a few yesterday, and I think I'm gonna take those and I'm gonna put with some carrots that I'm gonna get out of my garden. I do have a few carrots I can harvest. I'm gonna put it with a half of an orange bell pepper that I had and some English peas. I'm getting a few little English peas. I'm just eating them as I get them. And I'm gonna just make me a little chopped salad of vegetables today for lunch, I believe. Right here in this bucket, I have some cucumbers. I'm pretty sure these are the green dragon. It's an Asian long cucumber. I did plant a few seeds of the crystal apple in here, so a couple of these may be crystal apple. I don't know why, but right here, neither one that I planted came up. I just have a big gap there, but that's okay because I know these are going to spread out. My Yuma okra is coming up. I have one there. I have one there. It's smaller, but I planted it later. Same thing with this one. And I have one there. I only have about a 7-foot area here, so I can't plant too many okra plants, but these will come up. The okra kind of sits there a while without doing anything, and then it starts shooting up, and hopefully it'll do really good over here. If I keep filming with you and showing you all my plants, I can avoid coming over here and doing the carport, which is something that I've been meaning to do for a few weeks now. I told y'all I was going to do that in another video, and it hadn't happened. I did get stuff done inside my shed, which I'll show you later. I've given you little glimpses of it, but I'll show you that later when I'm finished with the carport. I'm using that to motivate myself. I'm not going to show anything else until I'm through with the carport. Got to move that compressor. We've got to have it out because of this tire on our side-by-side, but I got to move that. That's all my Joe Max stuff that's got knocked over in storms, and it's going to be used today to clean, so that'll be gone. I bought some more potting mix to do a little something in those black trash cans. Hadn't done it yet. And in the trash cans is the stain for these rockers, which one got knocked over in a storm the other day. We had some wind come through, but not a lot of rain at my house. So there's the leftover boards that I used to make my sign. I've got to do something with those. And I've got to get this wheelbarrow out of here. But it's coming. This is the not so great part to show you and film. But it's got to be done because I will have customers drive up right there in my driveway and come in this door to go in my shed, and I just really want everything to look good. So that's going to get done today, maybe finished up tomorrow. I'll start staining these chairs because I have to keep my grandbaby this weekend, so I'm not going to have all day Saturday like I normally would have to work. So today's Wednesday. I'm going to knock something out today and tomorrow on this carport. It's getting done. Yeah, it's just I'm just going to make myself get it done. I also decided, after looking at my little side garden flower bed today, that, okay, once these red swans are through, they're going to kind of go down. They might bloom out and put some more beans off later, but I don't expect, you know, them to just sit here for very long. So I think I'm going to add some more bush beans up in here. I really just want to plant things in here that can grow food. I have some dill planted in here, and I do have some little wildflowers. Those two little green things right there and there, that's little groupings of wildflowers that hopefully will come up. I have my sunflowers in here too, so it doesn't have to be all food. But if I'm going to plant something else, like right up in these spaces right here, right up in there, all back there is going to be okra. But right up in here, you know, I could add a few more beans. And even right in this spot, for some reason none of my beans would grow here. I added a little dirt to there a while ago, and I'm just going to put some more in, you know, keep trying. But I selected out of my drawer in there these Cabot beans. They're bush bean, and I got them from the Twilly Seed Company. I really don't have any information on Twilly seeds, good, bad, or otherwise. It's the first time I've ordered from them. It's a little bit different process to order from Twilly. You can't just order online. I emailed them an order because I couldn't get them on the phone, and then I had to call them to give them my payment once they emailed back and said they had my order. So it was a little bit different way to go about it. I can overlook all that if their seeds are really good, but I don't know yet. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and pull these out and plant them and just kind of see, get my toe in the water and see how I like the Twilly seeds. So I'm going to plant them here in this flower bed, and then I'm going to plant them around the corner in my wheelbarrow. I had carrots there a while back, and then while it was cool this winter, kind of after the first of the year, I planted some kohlrabi in there. I never really have good luck with kohlrabi because I don't know, it just doesn't, it kind of gets too hot down here. It just doesn't really like it. But it makes pretty foliage. The leaves come off pretty. I do like to pick the leaves and put them in salads and things. So it's just something I kind of plant every now and then, because every time I order from Baker Creek Seeds, I get kohlrabi seeds as my free packet that they send with my order. So I end up with 4 or 5 packs of kohlrabi seeds before it's over with, so why not use them? But I'm going to take those out right now, and I'm going to put some more of these Cabot bush bean seeds in that wheelbarrow. So hopefully I can have some coming up here and there, and just have things growing all around my house, anywhere I can plug a seed in. Well, I did get something accomplished. I'm so relieved, I guess you would say. I got this whole wall washed off. A lot of those spiders gone that were up there. And I'll go about here, and then I'm gonna stop because I've got this whole side over here to do. Pretty much got this done. I've got a little more scrubbing to do on this wall. But this main wall, I actually went over it twice. It's been so long since we did it. And then the doors, I don't know if you can really tell, but they had a lot of stains on them that are gone now. A lot of spider webs up at every little corner of everything. And I got it. So, and I got a lot of things put up that were on the carport. I brought this ladder so that I can work on that light up there here shortly. Get it cleaned because it's got some dirt dauber nest up there. But anyway, it's getting late here on Camp Joy Farms. I am going to go cook supper and just do some things in the house. And I'm gonna call it a good day. I'm gonna call it a successful work day. Got a lot done outside and a whole lot done under here. That's a good work day, and I'm just gonna take it. Feels good to get some things done, and I'm gonna hit it again tomorrow.